The best movie villains find a way to inflict their will upon the world, and Christopher Nolan's Joker is no exception. He's outnumbered at every turn, yet always seems to hold the ace up his sleeve. But how can one man create such chaos with just a few drums of gas and a couple of bullets? This is because the Joker isn't just a criminal or a psychopath. He's a master of manipulation. He preys on his victims' base instincts and desires, the motivating factors we don't even detect within ourselves that are governing our behavior. The Joker's main goal isn't money or power. It's to expose that civilized society is not as civilized as it appears, that beneath this veneer, we live in a grueling dog-eat-dog world.
I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
He wants to expose that our alleged values and ideals are just that, ideals. They're something we like to believe about ourselves or the world when things are functioning well. But once we're faced with any real hardship, our true nature is revealed and all our values go out the window, as deep down humans are primarily ruled by self-interest. This theme is present in each of his manipulations. His aim is to awaken this dark realization in all of Gotham, and break down its systems of order, turning man against man until there's nothing left, as he believes that those with power understand this truth and use the narrative of civility to their own advantage. So let's examine how the Joker manipulates everyone throughout the Dark Knight, and how, in the end, he ultimately wins. In his opening gambit, the Joker proves that there's no honor amongst thieves. He understands that each of them are only participating in this bank heist because they want money. And if they don't care who they're stealing from, why would they care about who they're stealing with? So he instructs each of them to take out their fellow co-conspirator once their task is complete. That way they get a larger share of the takings. Like most of us operating in this system, each robber believes that if they're willing to go the extra mile and crush their competition, then they deserve to reap the rewards, naively thinking that bad things will only ever happen to other people. This starts the Joker's journey to the top. Now that he has endless amounts of money, he can attract new goons to work for him, and his little ploy has captured the attention of his real targets, Gotham's mob bosses. When it comes to manipulating his victims, the Joker always starts with three key questions. What do they fear the most? What or who do they value the most? And what do they want the most? So when he looks at Gotham's mafia, based on their behavior of having their meetings in broad daylight, he can tell that, unlike him, they fear getting caught. They have a weakness. Second to that, they value money and status, and therefore their deepest desire is for the Batman to be gone, as that will eliminate their biggest fear and allow them to hold on to power. So even though they hate the Joker for robbing them, he's confident enough to offer to kill Batman in exchange for even more of their money, as he's manipulated a logic where they have nothing to lose, as there's only really two possible outcomes here. Either Batman takes the Joker out of the game, which costs them nothing and gives them one less problem, or he succeeds and they can make more money than ever before with no need to look over their shoulder. The only person who seems to be against this is Gamble, whose ego can't take being coerced. So he tries to play by the rules that got him to where he is, and puts out a call for the Joker to be brought to him dead or alive for a financial reward. So while Gamble thinks he's defending himself, his emotional outburst has only revealed a fresh weakness, as it's clear his greatest desire is now for the Joker to be killed. This creates an opportunity for the Joker to turn the tables on his only remaining obstacle. If you make Gamble believe his wish came true, he'll let his guard down and become easy prey, as he's dominated by ego. When it comes to Gamble's two remaining men, we see the Joker spread his filthy philosophy yet again. He states that only one of them can come work for him, and the winner will be determined in a battle to the death. So these two men who work together as a unit every day now have every incentive to murder their alleged friend. This only proves the Joker's beliefs about the world even more, that when the chips are down, nothing else matters to anyone but themselves. Next, the Joker needs to capture Batman's attention and coerce him out into public view. So what does he know about his target? That he wants to defend innocent civilians and inspire them to not feel afraid. This means that Batman's presence is contingent on public support. So that's the first pillar he starts chipping away at, by killing one of the civilians, imitating his hero, and calling for the real Batman to unmask himself. If he doesn't, he will be responsible for another innocent death, every day until he reveals his true identity. This turns the tables and reframes Batman's character in the public's mind. As for a man whose alleged principle is never killing anybody, his self-interest to remain anonymous is now getting people killed. This plants the seed in Batman's mind that his heroic run may be over. It may be time to either turn himself in or quit, as his presence in Gotham is no longer worth it. This pressure causes Bruce to start believing more and more in the mission of Harvey Dent. Maybe he's destined to finish what he started, a thought that had never fully resonated before the Joker got his hooks in him. But Bruce accidentally reveals something critical about himself when he dives after Rachel. As let's just imagine that you were in that building. The hero arrives in a room full of innocent civilians whose life is under threat, and then he jumps out the window, abandoning his post to save one person, instead of staying to save them all. So by running after Rachel, he's essentially running away from everyone else, highlighting who he values most, handing the Joker a crucial piece of information in how to manipulate him. As more cops get killed, Harvey points out that we were happy to let the Batman clean up our streets until now. But this only further validates the Joker's beliefs about society. It demonstrates that the public don't actually value Batman, they just value the result of his efforts. Once that goes away, they have no use for him. So these are not deeply held principles, but conveniences. Once their life is on the line, they'll abandon the hero they once admired. And by doing so, the Joker is psychologically causing the public to distance themselves from Batman's values and align themselves closer to his own. The Joker can always stay 2 steps ahead because he has no code to maintain. Meanwhile, everyone else is living by rules and order, making their behaviors deeply predictable to a manipulator like the Joker. For example, he can stand still and welcome Batman to drive into him, as no matter what he chooses, the Joker wins. He either dirties Batman's reputation by stripping him of his moral virtue, or if Batman tries to hold on to his code and dodges him, he'll gain the upper hand. The same tactic is applied once he's arrested. Because everyone around him is following procedure, like locking up criminals, reading them their rights, and giving them their phone calls, the police force unconsciously open the door to their customs being taken advantage of. As by burying a bomb in a newly arrested prisoner's belly, the Joker is always just one phone call away from escaping. But to put himself in that position, the Joker needs to puppet master a supervising police officer into shedding his ethics to fulfill his own bloodthirsty desires. Let's examine how he does it. He starts off by trying to emotionally activate his victim, by asking, "How many of your friends have I killed?" Once the officer gives a charged answer, viewing himself as above the Joker, he informs him that he killed 6 of his friends. As good as he felt delivering his self-righteous answer, the officer has now unwittingly revealed his weakness. So the Joker presses deeper into it. "You want to know why I use a knife? Guns are too quick. You can't savor all the little emotions. You see, in their last moments, people show you who they really are. So in a way, I knew your friends better than you ever did. Would you like to know which of them were cowards?" From the opening line, the Joker is trying to poke salt in the officer's psychological wound by making it sound like his friends died slowly and painfully. He then mocks their memory by suggesting at least some of them were cowards in the face of death. These are all things that break society's alleged values of savoring human life and respecting the memory of the dead. This lures the cop to the dark side. He now wants to enjoy beating the life out of the Joker more than he wants to stand by his ethical code or his job's responsibility. He's becoming who he needs him to be to take advantage of him. So the Joker starts by preying on his emotional weakness, before attacking his physical weakness next. But it's in this very room that the Joker set forth his most manipulative ploy just moments earlier. After using crooked cops to abduct both Rachel and Harvey, he allows Batman to choose which one of them he wants to save. This penetrates right to the core of the man beneath the mask, and showcases his true priorities. Does he choose Rachel, the person he cherishes most, or Harvey, the man he believes will protect the city? Batman claims to have always put the city ahead of himself, but when the chips are down, will he really? Keep in mind the Joker already pushed Bruce into a position where he was willing to hand himself in. He's made his opponent want to quit and therefore start envisioning his life after Batman, meaning he'll instinctively want to pick Rachel as she's clearly part of that dream. And then by giving him the wrong address, he's not only weakened his commitment to the cause, but then left him no alternative to run away to. But there's another layer to this immoral, manipulative game, as by killing Rachel, this also makes Harvey more open to exploitation, and Dent is the one with a large public profile. He's the perfect candidate to be turned into a monster. If this is a battle for Gotham's soul, in one move, he just weakened both of its heroes, so they have nothing to live for. In the case of Harvey, a man who symbolized established order, the Joker has just demonstrated that the very system he vowed to protect failed him. As when it came down to it, not only did a crooked cop abduct Rachel in the first place, but then Batman seemingly only protected him because of his status and power. This further establishes the Joker's worldview as correct. The system is corrupt and only looking out for itself. Your life matters more than Rachel's because you're more valuable to the establishment. This sets Harvey on course for revenge, now ripping apart the very system he swore to defend. The Joker has preyed upon his weakness and left him with nothing but venom in his soul. Not satisfied with exposing Gotham's two key heroes, the Joker now turns his attention to the population as a whole. It's time to see if everyday citizens can be corrupted and put their self-interest above everything else. First, the Joker threatens to blow up a hospital unless Coleman Reese is killed. This incentivizes the public to attack an otherwise innocent man. Yes, they claim to value the rule of law and be against murder, but once it's him or them, then their true priorities are revealed, exposing the very concept of civilized society as a lie. We only work together and obey its rules when it benefits us. Once that stops, we have no reason to uphold it. So the Joker's worldview is now spreading throughout Gotham like a disease. He wants to blur the lines between good and evil, between right and wrong, between us and them. He even dresses innocent hostages up as his goons and straps a gun in their hands to try to manipulate the SWAT team into accidentally killing the very people they're trying to protect, highlighting how if the established order are happy to kill if it helps them to achieve their goal, why should he be any different? For his final trick, the Joker ignites fear throughout the city by telling the public it's time for everyone to get off the bench and into the game. And if they don't want to be part of his sick regime, then they must leave. But then he implies that anyone who takes the bridge or tunnel are sure for a surprise. So he instills fear and offers a way out, and then takes it away, as by doing so, he compounds a fundamental realization in each citizen, that they're not actually as loyal to their city or their fellow man as they thought they were. They just want to survive, whatever it takes. Once they predictably try to leave by ferry, he pits two boats against one another, one filled with criminals, the other with civilians. Each boat is given the detonator to blow up the opposing boat and save themselves. But if neither boat pushes the button by midnight, they'll all be killed. This incentivizes the everyday citizens to want to turn to the dark side, as the presumption would be that the criminals are more morally bankrupt to begin with. But it also taps into another of society's alleged values. Do we really believe criminals can be rehabilitated, or is it one strike and you're out? Are we all solely governed by self-interest, or do we actually believe in something bigger outside of ourselves? And although Gotham citizens narrowly pass this moral test, it would be wrong to think the Joker failed to achieve his goals. He initially set out to get Batman out of Gotham and remove Harvey Dent's honorable influence, and in that, he undeniably succeeded. As by setting Dent on his destructive path, Batman ends up having to break his one rule and pushes Harvey to his death, and then takes on the responsibility of his crimes so that Gotham still has the memory of one hero they can look up to. So it appears that the Joker successfully wormed his way into Batman's psyche.
They need you right now. But when they don't, they'll cast you out.
He was already on the verge of being cast out for not giving up his identity, and had emotionally begun to accept that his time serving the city was coming to an end. Because of the Joker's manipulative meddling, they no longer need him to be cleaning up their streets. They need him to be the villain so that Harvey can be the hero. Someone with a face and a name that others will want to mold themselves into. So outside of the simplistic view that he got caught, in many ways the Joker won. He broke his opponent's spirits, he exposed their values, and he changed their lives' trajectories. And although he stresses to Harvey that he's the furthest thing from a man with a plan, this claim is clearly deceptive, as every step of the way, the Joker orchestrates situation after situation where he has multiple ways to win and almost no ways to lose. He preys on people's strongest desires, ignites their darkest fears, and then pits them against each other. As by bringing everyone down to his level, he can always come out on top. And that's what makes this Joker one of the most dangerous, ruthless manipulators in the entire history of cinema. Well, if you've made it this far, firstly, thank you for watching, but if you could now give the video a like, possibly even leave a comment and click on that subscribe button, it will encourage that mysterious algorithm to do its thing.